Chosen one, why does your mother's face change when you ask about the day you were born? Why does she pause, look away, and say you were different from the start, but never explains what she means? Why, in 70, 80, 90 years of living, has no one ever told you the full truth about the moment you entered this world? Listen to me carefully, chosen one. I'm about to shatter a silence that's followed you your entire life. The day you were born, heaven wrote something on your soul that no one ever told you, not even your mother. She saw it, she felt it, but she buried it deep because she didn't have the language to explain what happened in that delivery room. There was a presence, a weight, a knowing that washed over her the second you took your first breath, and it terrified her. Because she sensed you didn't come here by accident. You came here, assigned. Before we go deeper into this mystery, I want to pause and thank every single one of you who has supported this message through super thanks. Your generosity means more than you know. You're not just donating, you're helping spread light to others who feel alone in their calling. Whether you give or not, I'm deeply grateful for your presence here. Your support, your time, your attention, it all matters. And if this message resonates with your soul, go ahead and sow that seed of faith. But right now, I need you to be honest with yourself. Haven't you always felt, watched, protected in moments you should have been destroyed, guided when you were completely lost? Like invisible hands caught you when you were falling? That wasn't luck, beloved. That was the mark that was placed on you the day you were born. Your mother knew. Deep down, she knew you carried something she couldn't name. Maybe she prayed harder over you than your siblings. Maybe she looked at you differently. Maybe she whispered, God has plans for this one, when she thought no one was listening. She hid the secret because she was afraid of what it meant. Have you ever felt different, pulled towards something you can't explain, misunderstood by the very people who should know you best? That restlessness in your chest, that's not confusion. That's confirmation. You've been carrying a divine assignment since your first cry pierced the atmosphere of that hospital room. If you've ever felt this, if something is stirring in your spirit right now, comment, I feel this, so heaven sees your acknowledgement. Don't scroll past this moment. This isn't coincidence. This is appointment. Tonight, God is revealing what was hidden from you since your first breath. The secret your mother carried, it's about to be unsealed. And when you hear it, everything, every struggle, every supernatural escape, every unexplainable moment of your life will finally make sense. Stay until the end, because what I'm about to tell you will change how you see your past and ignite how you walk into your future. Do you know what your mother saw the moment she first held you? Have you ever asked her why she never talked about the day you were born, the way she talked about your siblings? What was she protecting you from? Or protecting for you? Listen to me, chosen one. I'm about to take you back to a moment you can't remember, but your soul has never forgotten. The day you entered this world, something happened in that delivery room that your mother carried in silence for decades. Not because she didn't love you, because she loved you too much to speak what she didn't fully understand. Picture this. It's 1945, maybe 1950, maybe 1960. Your mother is lying in that hospital bed, exhausted, drenched in sweat, holding you for the first time. The nurses are bustling around, the doctor is writing notes, but in that moment, everything stops for her. She looks down at your face, and something washes over her that she's never felt before. Peace. Unexplainable, supernatural peace. But it's more than peace. It's knowing. Deep, bone-level knowing that you didn't arrive here by accident, that heaven itself had orchestrated this moment, that she wasn't just holding a baby, she was holding a divine assignment wrapped in human flesh. Your mother saw something behind your eyes that day, something ancient, something that made her whisper under her breath, God, what have you given me? She felt it in her spirit before you could speak a word, before you took your first step, before you knew your own name. There was a mark on you, an anointing, a calling so profound that it made the very atmosphere of that room shift. But here's what breaks my heart. She never told you. Why? Because how do you explain to a child that you felt the presence of the Almighty in the delivery room? How do you tell your son, your daughter, that when you looked at them, you saw destiny burning behind infant eyes? How do you put into words that you knew this child was set apart before the foundations of the world were laid? So she stayed silent. She tucked it away. She prayed over you harder than she prayed over anyone else in your family. She watched you differently, protected you fiercely, because she knew something the rest of the world didn't know yet. You were marked. Jeremiah 1-5 says it plainly. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. Not suggested, not hoped for, set apart, chosen, sealed with purpose before your first breath. Your mother felt that. She sensed it, and it terrified her. Because marking doesn't just mean blessing, beloved. It means assignment. It means warfare. It means the enemy noticed you before you could walk, before you could talk, before you even knew there was an enemy. Think about Moses. Pharaoh ordered every Hebrew baby boy killed. Why? Because hell recognized a deliverer was coming. Think about Jesus. Herod slaughtered every male child under 2 in Bethlehem. Why? Because darkness always attacks the light before it can shine. Your mother knew. She didn't have the theological language for it. She couldn't quote scripture the way I'm doing now. But she felt it in her bones. There was something about you that made her pray differently, hold you tighter, watch over you with a fierceness that seemed irrational to everyone else. This is why you survived things that should have killed you. This is why doors opened that had no logical reason to open. This is why you felt protected in moments when you should have been destroyed. Your mother wasn't hiding something from you. She was holding something for you. She was guarding a secret until you were ready to carry the weight of it. Until you were old enough, tested enough, refined enough to understand what heaven placed on you the day you were born. And now, after all these years, 70, 80, 90 years of living, God is saying, it's time for you to know what she knew, time for you to remember what your soul has always carried. But here's the urgency pressing on my spirit right now. The enemy has spent your entire life trying to make you forget this moment. He's thrown everything at you: rejection, betrayal, financial ruin, health attacks, depression, all designed to make you believe you're ordinary, that you're nothing special, that your life has been random chaos with no divine purpose. That's a lie from the pit of hell. Every attack you've endured is proof that you carry something hell fears. Every storm you've survived is evidence that heaven has been protecting what was marked on you from day one. Every time you should have quit but didn't, every time you should have fallen but were caught by invisible hands, that was the mark activating. Your mother saw it first. She felt it deepest. And though she may be gone now, though you may never get to ask her about that day, her prayers over you are still active in the spiritual realm. Proverbs 31-28 says, "Her children arise and call her blessed." Those prayers she whispered over your crib, they're still working. But there's something else. Something your mother knew but couldn't fully articulate. Something that was placed on you in that delivery room that goes beyond protection, beyond calling, beyond anything she could have imagined. There was a spiritual mark placed on you that day. One that made the enemy nervous before you could walk. One that set the trajectory of your entire life. One that's been waiting, dormant but not dead, for this exact moment when you would finally understand. What exactly was that mark? And why is it activating right now, decades later, when the world says your best years are behind you? You know what haunted you, your entire childhood? It wasn't fear. It wasn't rebellion. It was this unbearable feeling that you were born into the wrong timeline. While other kids were playing hopscotch and chasing ice cream trucks through Brooklyn streets, you were standing at the window, thinking about death. About questions that had no business living in a 7-year-old's mind. Your mother saw it. She watched you sit at the kitchen table, staring into nothing, carrying thoughts too heavy for your little shoulders. And it scared her, because she knew deep in her spirit that you didn't come here to just live and die like everyone else. You were born old in wisdom and young in pain. Listen to me carefully, chosen one. There's a reason you never fit your age. There's a reason you felt ancient at 15 and out of place at 50. There's a reason you connected more with your grandmother's stories than your own generation's music. You weren't born into this world. You were sent into it. Jeremiah 1-5 declares it plainly. Before I formed you in the womb I knew you. Before you were born I set you apart. Not after you proved yourself, not after you got it right. Before you took your first breath, God had already written your assignment. And that assignment? It was older than your birth certificate. Think about this. When other children were learning their ABCs, what were you doing? You were the one sitting in the back of the room, already knowing things you'd never been taught. You were the kid who understood adult conversations when you shouldn't have. You were the teenager who carried burdens for people twice your age. Your teachers called it mature for your age. Your family called it an old soul. But nobody told you the truth. You were carrying an ancient calling in a young body. This is why you've always felt out of sync. This is why birthdays never felt like celebrations, but like reminders that time was slipping and you still hadn't figured out what you came here to do. This is why even now, at 70, 80, 90 years old, you still feel like you're just getting started. Because the assignment on your life doesn't operate on Earth's clock. It operates on eternity's calendar. Your mother saw the weight on your life before you even carried it. She watched you sleep as a baby and wondered why you didn't cry like normal infants. She held you in her arms and felt something she couldn't name, a heaviness, a destiny, a knowing that this child was different. Maybe she told you once. Maybe she said, "You've always been special." Maybe she whispered, "I knew from the moment I held you that God had plans." But she never told you the full truth. Because how do you tell a child they were born carrying the prayers of generations? How do you explain to a 10-year-old that they're answering petitions whispered by ancestors they'll never meet? She couldn't, so she stayed silent. And you grew up feeling like a stranger in your own skin. But here's what breaks my heart about your story. You spent decades thinking something was wrong with you. You thought you were broken because you couldn't just be normal. You beat yourself up for not fitting in, for not wanting what everyone else wanted, for feeling pulled towards something you couldn't see or touch or explain. You weren't broken, beloved. You were built different. Look at David. Just a boy when Samuel poured oil over his head and declared him king. But did David feel like a king? No. He felt like a shepherd. He went back to his sheep, back to his fields, back to being invisible while his brothers got the glory. For years, he carried the anointing of royalty while living the life of a nobody. That's you. You've been carrying king-level authority while the world treated you like a servant. You've been walking with prophet-level vision while people called you crazy. You've been operating with priest-level intercession while your own family couldn't understand why you prayed so much. Your life never matched your age because your calling never matched this world. Think about Moses, 80 years old when God called him from a burning bush. 80. He'd spent 40 years thinking he was somebody in Pharaoh's palace, then 40 years thinking he was nobody in the wilderness. But God was waiting for Moses to get old enough, broken enough, humbled enough to carry what heaven was about to release. That's why your hardest years weren't wasted. That's why your failures weren't final. That's why every season that felt like death was actually preparation. You think you're too old now? Moses saved a nation at 80. You think you missed your moment? Sarah birthed nations at 90. You think your time has passed? John received revelation at 95 and changed the course of Christianity forever. Age isn't your limitation. It's your confirmation that you've been refined long enough to carry what's coming. Your mother hid the secret because she saw something in your eyes that first day. She saw eternity staring back at her. She saw a soul that had been somewhere before this life began. She saw the weight of divine assignment pressing down on your tiny frame, and it terrified her, because she knew that a life marked by heaven would also be targeted by hell. If these words feel like they're describing your entire life, if every sentence is hitting something deep in your chest that you thought nobody else understood, write, "That's me" below. Let heaven see that you're finally ready to stop running from who you've always been. Because what I'm about to tell you next will explain why your entire life has felt like preparation, and why everything you've endured is about to make perfect sense. Let me tell you something that's going to shake you to your core. The day you were born, hell took notice. Not after you grew up, not after you found your faith, not after you started praying or serving God. The moment you drew your first breath, the instant your cry echoed through that delivery room, darkness moved. Your mother felt it. She couldn't name it, couldn't explain it. But there was a fear that gripped her heart that had nothing to do with childbirth. Something she never told you. Something she buried so deep she convinced herself it was just her imagination. But it wasn't her imagination, chosen one. The room wasn't empty. Think about this. Why do some babies come into this world and everything's normal, but others, their arrival feels different? The atmosphere shifts. The very air seems charged. Medical professionals can't explain it, but they feel it. Something sacred, something heavy, something that makes even the most skeptical person in that room whisper a prayer they didn't plan to pray. That was your birth. You see, the enemy has an intelligence network that most believers never understand. He doesn't wait until you're grown to attack you. He doesn't delay until you've discovered your calling. Revelation 12:4 tells us that the dragon stood before the woman who was ready to give birth, to devour her child as soon as it was born. That's not a fairy tale, beloved. That's spiritual strategy. Hell studies bloodlines. Demons track generational patterns. They know when a deliverer is coming. They recognize when heaven is sending someone who will wreck their plans, shatter their strongholds, set captives free. And when they saw you coming, they mobilized. Your mother's unexplained complications during pregnancy that wasn't just medical. Your difficult delivery that almost didn't make it, that wasn't just biological. Those close calls in your childhood that should have killed you, but mysteriously didn't. Those weren't coincidences. You were marked for termination before you could walk, before you could talk, before you even knew your own name. But here's what the enemy didn't count on. Here's what hell's intelligence failed to report. Your life had a price tag hell couldn't pay. When Pharaoh ordered every Hebrew baby boy thrown into the Nile, what happened? One baby Moses was protected, placed in a basket, discovered by Pharaoh's own daughter, raised in the very palace that ordered his death. Why? Because when heaven assigns protection, hell's attacks become heaven's setup. When Herod massacred every infant in Bethlehem trying to kill the Christ child, what happened? An angel appeared to Joseph in a dream. Get up, take the child and his mother, and flee to Egypt. Matthew 2:13. Jesus escaped the slaughter because heaven doesn't leave its assignments unguarded. And you? You're still here, aren't you? After the car accident that should have killed you but left you with barely a scratch. After the illness the doctors couldn't explain when you were 6 years old, but you recovered overnight. After that moment when you were 17 and almost made a choice that would have destroyed your entire future, but something stopped you, turned you around, redirected your path. That wasn't luck. That was assignment protection. Listen to what Psalm 91:11 declares. For he shall give his angels charge over you, to keep you in all your ways. Not some of your ways, not your good days, all your ways. Even the days you didn't know you needed guarding. Even the moments you were too young to pray for yourself. An angel stood guard at your birth. Your mother might not have seen it with her natural eyes, but her spirit sensed it. That unexplainable peace that washed over her in the middle of labor pains. That sudden knowing that this child is going to be different. That fierce protective instinct that made her pray prayers she didn't even know she knew. She was responding to the spiritual atmosphere in that room. She was sensing the battle over your destiny. You survived what others did not, because heaven assigned soldiers to your cradle. But let me tell you why this matters right now, today, in this very moment. You're not just learning history. You're discovering identity. Because if the enemy attacked you at birth, it means he already knew what you were carrying. If hell tried to terminate you early, it means your assignment terrifies darkness. Think about your life. Really think about it. How many times should you have died but didn't? How many times should you have lost your mind but held on? How many times should you have given up, walked away, surrendered to despair, but something kept you standing? That's not your strength, beloved. That's ancient protection still active on your life. The battle that started the day you were born never ended, it just evolved. The enemy who tried to kill you in infancy is the same enemy who's been trying to silence you in your senior years, trying to convince you that your best days are behind you, that your calling expired with your youth, that heaven's moved on to younger vessels. But if that were true, why are you still alive? Why has every weapon formed against you failed? Why, after 70, 80, 90 years of warfare, are you still breathing, still believing, still standing? Because the assignment that required protection at your birth is the same assignment that's about to be activated in your present. Your mother hid this truth because she was afraid. Afraid of what it meant. Afraid of the responsibility. Afraid that if she told you how special you were, the enemy would attack harder. But you can't hide anymore. The secret's being unsealed. And the very warfare that's followed you since birth is proof that you're carrying something hell can't afford to let loose. The question burning in the atmosphere right now is this: if heaven protected you this long, what exactly were you protected for? Let me ask you something that might shake you to your core. How many generations in your family line never spoke about their pain? How many of your ancestors went to their graves carrying secrets, shame, and suffering they couldn't name? Your grandmother, she smiled through a broken marriage, didn't she? Your grandfather, he drowned something in a bottle every night, but nobody ever talked about why. Your mother, she carried a sadness in her eyes that had no explanation, a weight that seemed older than her own life. You thought that was just how families were. You thought silence was strength. You thought suffering in secret was somehow noble. But beloved, that wasn't strength. That was a curse. A generational curse that's been running through your bloodline like poison in the water supply. And here's what your mother could never tell you. Here's the secret she buried the day you were born. She knew you were the one who would break it. Listen to me carefully. Exodus 34:7 tells us that the iniquity of the fathers visits the children to the third and fourth generation. But that same verse reveals something most preachers skip over. It also says, God shows mercy to thousands of generations for those who love Him and keep His commandments. You are that generation, the one where mercy crashes into the curse and shatters it forever. Think about your family tree for a moment. Really think about it. The divorces that kept repeating, the addiction that showed up in different forms but always showed up, the financial struggle that no amount of hard work could ever seem to break, the mental illness that whispered through the generations like a ghost no one wanted to acknowledge. You watched it, you felt it, and somewhere deep in your spirit, even as a child, you made a vow you didn't have words for yet. You whispered to yourself, "This ends with me." That wasn't just a thought, chosen one. That was prophecy. Your mother saw something in your eyes the day you were born that terrified her. She saw defiance. She saw fire. She saw a spirit that wouldn't bow to the family patterns that had crushed everyone before you. And it scared her because she knew what that meant. You were born to rewrite the story, not continue it. But here's what she couldn't explain to you. Here's why she stayed silent. She feared that your calling would isolate you. She knew that chain breakers walk alone. She understood that the one who says no more to generational bondage often becomes the black sheep, the misunderstood one, the family member who doesn't quite fit. So she hid the truth. She tried to make you normal. She tried to press you into the same mold that shaped everyone before you. Not because she didn't love you, but because she did. She was trying to protect you from the loneliness of your calling. But you couldn't be molded, could you? You tried. God knows you tried. You tried to fit in at family gatherings. You tried to laugh at jokes that weren't funny. You tried to ignore the dysfunction and play along with the denial. But something in you kept rising up. kept speaking truth, kept refusing to participate in the pretending. They called you difficult. They said you were too sensitive. They told you to let things go, to stop stirring up the past, to just accept things as they are. But you couldn't. Because you weren't built to accept. You were built to abolish. 2 Corinthians 5:17 declares, "Therefore, if anyone is in Christ, the new creation has come, the old has gone, the new is here." You are that new creation. You are the first branch on a poison tree that decided to draw water from a different source. Do you understand what you've done without even knowing it? Every time you chose sobriety, when your bloodline chose addiction, you broke something in the spirit realm. Every time you stayed in your marriage, when 3 generations before you ran, you shattered an ancient agreement. Every time you spoke truth when your family demanded silence, you demolished a stronghold that had stood for a century. You've been fighting a war you didn't know you were in, and you've been winning. But here's the heartbreak. Here's what makes me weep for the chain breakers. You did it alone. You did it misunderstood. You did it while your own family looked at you like you were the problem, when you were actually the solution they'd been praying for without knowing it. Your grandmother's midnight prayers, you're the answer. Your great-grandfather's dying wish for something better for his descendants, you're the fulfillment. Every ancestor who suffered in silence was actually suffering for you, preparing the ground for the seed that wouldn't grow into the same sick tree. You were the first in your bloodline with the strength to say, "No more." If you feel this in your bones right now, if tears are streaming down your face because someone finally sees what you've carried, write these 4 words in the comments. I break every generational chain. Say it, declare it, let heaven record it, and hell hear it. Because, beloved, breaking chains is painful work. It's lonely work, but it's holy work. And the generations that come after you will never know the battles you fought in secret so they could live free. But here's what your mother never told you about that day you were born. Here's the final piece of the puzzle that explains everything. When you took your first breath, heaven marked you, but hell also took notice. Beloved, let me take you back to a moment you don't remember, but that changed everything. The delivery room, the fluorescent lights, your mother's exhausted breathing, and then your first cry. But something else happened in that room, something no doctor could measure, something no nurse could write in their notes, something your mother felt so deeply in her spirit that it shook her to her core. The moment you opened your eyes, she saw purpose staring back. I'm not talking about the joy every mother feels. I'm talking about a knowing, a divine recognition that flooded her soul like lightning. She looked into your newborn face and saw something that terrified and awed her at the same time. She saw eternity looking back at her through infant eyes. Do you remember how she treated you differently? How she prayed over you longer than your siblings? How sometimes she'd just stare at you with tears in her eyes and you never knew why. She knew. Deep in her spirit, she knew you were not born for an ordinary life. But here's what breaks my heart. She never told you. She carried that secret like a stone in her chest for decades. Why? Because she didn't have the words. Because when she tried to explain it to your father, he dismissed it as hormones. Because when she mentioned it to the pastor, he smiled politely and changed the subject. So she buried it. She hid what heaven had shown her. She watched you grow up carrying a weight you didn't understand, feeling different in ways you couldn't articulate, struggling with a restlessness that had no name. And all along, she knew why. Listen to what Jeremiah 1-5 says. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. Not after you proved yourself. Not after you earned it. Before you were born, before your first breath, before anyone on earth knew your name, God knew your assignment. You came into this world as an answer to a prayer she was too afraid to pray. Think about that. Your existence wasn't random. Your birth wasn't biological chance. You were the manifestation of intercession. Somewhere in the spiritual realm, before you took form, prayers were being prayed. Ancestors you never met were crying out to God. Your grandmother's grandmother was on her knees saying, "Lord, send someone to break these chains." And heaven looked at the calendar of human history and said, "Now. Send them now. That's you, chosen one. You are the answer that took generations to arrive." But your mother saw something else that day, something darker, something that made her pray harder. She saw the target on your back. She sensed that if you were born with purpose, you'd also be born into warfare. Have you ever wondered why your life has been harder than it should have been? Why attacks came early? Why you faced battles at 10 years old that most people don't face until 50? Because the enemy saw what your mother saw. Hell recognized you in that delivery room. The moment you drew breath, darkness took notice. And what's been hunting you your whole life isn't random chaos. It's strategic opposition against the very purpose your mother witnessed the day you were born. Job 1-8 records God saying to Satan, "Have you considered my servant Job?" God himself pointed Job out. Why? Because when you carry purpose, you become visible in the spirit realm. Your mother knew this. That's why she prayed in whispers. That's why she anointed your doorpost. That's why she fasted on your birthdays. She was protecting what she'd seen. But now you're sitting here, 70, 80, 90 years later, and you're thinking, if I was born with such purpose, why do I feel like I wasted my life? Why didn't it happen? Why am I still waiting? Stop right there. You haven't wasted anything. You've been in preparation. Moses didn't deliver Israel at 20. He delivered them at 80. Your mother saw the seed planted, but seeds don't become trees overnight. They grow in the dark. They push through dirt. They get buried before they break through. Every year you thought was wasted, that was roots going deeper. Every closed door, that was God protecting the timing. Every delay, that was character catching up to calling. The secret she held is that you were born, chosen. Not chosen after you proved yourself worthy. Not chosen because you're perfect. Chosen before your first heartbeat. Marked before your first word. Assigned before you knew your own name. Ephesians 1-4 declares, "He chose us in Him before the creation of the world, before the stars burned, before oceans existed, before time began, you were chosen." And your mother? She was the first witness. She saw it in the delivery room, written in the atmosphere around your newborn body. She felt it like electricity in the air. She knew it in her bones. That's why she couldn't explain it. How do you tell a child they were born with destiny stamped on their soul? How do you warn them that their very existence threatens the kingdom of darkness? How do you prepare them for a calling so big it would take a lifetime to grow into? So she did the only thing she could do. She prayed, she covered you, she watched, and she waited for the day when you'd be ready to hear the truth. That day is today. Right now, as you're hearing these words, something is unlocking in your spirit. Memories are surfacing. Moments are connecting. You're finally understanding why you've always felt different, why you've never fit in, why ordinary life has never satisfied your soul. It's because you were born carrying what your mother saw but couldn't speak. But here's the urgent truth that's burning in my spirit. If you don't step into this now, when will you? How many more years will you let the secret stay buried? How much longer will you live beneath the purpose your mother witnessed the day you entered this world? The revelation has been given. The secret has been unsealed. Now comes the question that will determine everything. What will you do with what you've just learned? You want to know why the last 6 months felt like hell broke loose in your life? Why doors slammed shut that should have opened? Why relationships fractured that seemed solid? Why your body started breaking down in ways doctors can't fully explain? It wasn't an attack, beloved. It was preparation. Listen to me carefully. Everything you've been going through lately is not random. Those sleepless nights at 3 a.m. when anxiety gripped your chest and you couldn't breathe, that wasn't just stress. That was your spirit recognizing something was shifting in the heavenly realm. Your soul was sensing what your mind couldn't yet comprehend. God has been clearing the stage of your life, removing distractions, severing attachments, stripping away everything that would keep you from hearing what He's about to reveal about the day you were born. Think about it. Why now? Why, after 70, 80, 90 years of living, are you suddenly feeling this restlessness, this urgency, this sense that time is running out but something massive is about to begin? Because heaven reveals birth secrets only when it's time to activate destiny. You see, there's a principle in Scripture that will shake you to your core. In Ecclesiastes 3:1, Solomon wrote, "To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under heaven." But here's what most people miss. God doesn't reveal your purpose until you're ready to walk in it. He doesn't unveil your assignment until the appointed hour arrives. Moses didn't learn he was destined to deliver Israel until he was 80 years old. 80. He spent 4 decades thinking he was nobody, tending sheep in a desert, believing his moment had passed. But God was waiting for the exact intersection of Moses' maturity and Egypt's desperation, waiting for the Kairos moment when heaven and earth would collide. That's where you are right now, chosen one, your Kairos moment. Every struggle you've faced in recent months has been scrubbing you clean of the lies you believed about yourself. Every door that closed was God protecting you from settling for less than your birthright. Every person who walked away was heaven removing voices that would have drowned out the truth you're about to hear. God withheld this truth until now, because now you are strong enough to carry it. Do you understand what I'm saying? If He had told you this secret about your birth when you were 25, you would have been destroyed by it. The weight of it would have crushed you. You didn't have the character yet. You hadn't walked through enough valleys. You hadn't survived enough betrayals. You hadn't learned to trust God when everything visible screamed He'd forgotten you. But now you've got scars that prove you're a survivor. Now you've got wrinkles that tell stories of God's faithfulness. Now you've got a faith that's been tested in fires hot enough to consume lesser souls. You're not the same person you were 5 years ago. You're not even the same person you were 6 months ago. The recent storms didn't break you. They broke everything in you that wasn't built on the rock. And what's left standing is pure gold. This is why the revelation is coming now. This is why your spirit is waking up now. This is why you can't shake the feeling that something is about to radically shift in your life now. Look at your hands right now. Really look at them. Those hands have held dying loved ones. Those hands have worked jobs that broke your body. Those hands have wiped tears that nobody else saw you cry. Those hands have been folded in prayer through nights so dark you didn't think you'd see morning. Those hands are ready now, ready to receive what heaven has been holding. In Daniel 10:12, the angel told Daniel something that will blow your mind. Do not be afraid, Daniel. Since the first day that you set your mind to gain understanding and to humble yourself before your God, your words were heard, and I have come in response to them. Did you catch that? From the first day Daniel prayed, heaven heard. But the angel didn't arrive until 21 days later. Why? Because there was warfare in the spiritual realm. Because the blessing was worth fighting for. Because the revelation required precise timing. Your prayers about understanding your purpose, God heard them the first time you whispered them, but He's been waiting for the demonic resistance to be broken, waiting for you to be refined enough to handle the answer, waiting for this exact moment when everything in your life has been positioned for maximum impact. The storms you've weathered weren't punishment, dear one. They were preparation. Every tear was an investment. Every disappointment was a setup. Every moment you felt forgotten was actually you being hidden until the fullness of time. And the fullness of time is now. Your recent struggles are proof that something is trying to stop what God is about to release through you. The enemy saw the clock in heaven ticking toward your activation hour, and he panicked. He threw everything he had at you, hoping you'd give up before you heard the truth. But you didn't give up. You're still here. You're still listening. You're still believing that God has something more for you than what you've experienced so far. That's not stubbornness, beloved. That's your divine DNA refusing to die. That's the mark from your birth date rising up in your spirit, saying, "Not yet, not yet. There's more, there's more." If your spirit is waking up right now, if something deep inside you is confirming every word I'm speaking, type, "I receive this awakening" in the comments. Let heaven see that you're ready. Let the enemy know he failed to stop you. Let your own soul hear you declare that you're done living beneath your birthright. Because what I'm about to tell you next about the moment you were born will explain why you've always felt different, why you've survived what should have killed you, and why your greatest days aren't behind you. They're about to explode right in front of you. Chosen one, we've traveled deep tonight. We've uncovered what was buried. We've spoken what was silenced. And now, right now, we stand at the threshold of everything. Your mother didn't hide the truth to keep you small. She hid it so the world wouldn't break you before God built you. She saw something in your eyes the day you were born that she couldn't explain to doctors, couldn't share with family, couldn't even whisper to your father. She saw eternity looking back at her through a newborn's gaze. She felt the weight of destiny pressing down on that delivery room like atmospheric pressure before a storm, and it shook her to her core. Because mothers know. They know when they're holding more than just flesh and blood. They know when heaven has reached down and marked one of their own. Jeremiah 1-5 declares it plainly. "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart." Set you apart. Not suggested it, not hoped for it. Decreed it, sealed it, stamped it into your spiritual DNA before your first cell divided. You were born with a mantle, a light, an assignment that's been waiting 70, 80, 90 years to be activated. And every single moment of your life has been pointing to this revelation. Every time you survived what should have killed you. Every door that closed to protect you from the wrong path. Every person who abandoned you because they couldn't handle your frequency. Every night you cried out, wondering if anyone saw you, if anyone cared, if your life mattered at all. God was saying, "Not yet. Hold on. I'm preparing you for the moment when you'll finally understand why you were born different." That moment is now. The day you were born, heaven whispered your name and hell trembled. The enemy has spent decades trying to convince you that you're ordinary, that you're broken, that you're too old, too late, too damaged to matter. But listen to what he's really saying. He's saying, "Please don't remember who you are. Please don't discover what you carry. Please don't step into the authority I've been terrified of since the day you took your first breath." But it's too late for his lies. Because tonight, the veil has been torn, the secret has been spoken, and you can never unknow what you now know. You are marked, you are chosen, you are assigned. Your real life begins now. Not tomorrow, when you feel ready. Not next year when circumstances change. Not when you're younger or stronger or more qualified. Right now. This moment. This second, when divine revelation collides with human recognition and something ancient awakens in your bones. Romans 11:29 promises, "For God's gifts and His call are irrevocable." Irrevocable. That means no mistake you've made can cancel it. No year you've lived can expire it. No doubt you've carried can erase it. What God sealed on the day you were born, no force in hell can unseal. But here's what will determine everything about your next chapter. Will you step into it? Will you accept the mantle your mother saw but couldn't name? Will you finally stop apologizing for being different and start operating in the authority that difference carries? I need you to do something right now, not later, not when the video ends, right now. If this message has shattered something in you, if you feel the weight of destiny settling on your shoulders like a cloak you've always owned but never wore, comment 777, that's not superstition, that's your declaration. That's you telling heaven and earth and hell itself, I receive what was spoken over me before I was born. And listen to me carefully, share this message. There's someone in your life right now who needs to hear what their mother never told them. Someone who's been feeling different, called, pulled, marked, but thought they were losing their mind. Your obedience to share this could be the moment that changes their entire bloodline. Hit that like button as your public amen. Let it be your witness that on this day, in this hour, you stopped running from your calling and started running toward it. Because, beloved, your mother carried a secret for decades. She watched you grow, watched you struggle, watched you wonder, and she held her tongue because the truth was too big for words. But tonight, God has given you what she couldn't. The confirmation, the validation, the revelation. You were born for this moment. Every breath was building toward this awakening. Every tear was preparing you for this authority. Every year was positioning you for this purpose. The assignment isn't coming, chosen one. It's here. It's been here. It's been waiting for you to remember. Now, walk in it. Live in it. Breathe in it. Your mother saw you enter this world marked by heaven. Now let the world see you walk through it, clothed in that same glory. May the God who witnessed your first breath now guide every step ahead. May the secret that was hidden become the strength that sustains you. May the mystery of your birth become the manifestation of your calling. You are not who they said you were. You are who heaven declared you to be before the foundations of the world. Go now, chosen one. Your real life is waiting, and it starts today.